Hey, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. This is Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing, bringing you back for another slice of social media pie. And I just want to say hello to wherever you're watching from. If you could, please drop a comment below and let us know where in the world you're watching from, or where in the household even you're watching from. And I've got a very special guest with me today. I'm very excited to announce one of my fellow LinkedIn rock stars, Debra Mathias. Did I pronounce your last name correctly, Debra?
Yes, it's Mathias.
Mathias. Okay, right. I should have looked up. Do you have that name pronunciation thing on your profile?
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, good to have you on here today. And Debra, you and I came to know each other by way of the LinkedIn Rockstar list. And I wish I had kept track when I put the list together originally, if I found you, if you found me, if you were nominated. I don't recall. Do you recall the history there?
I don't. I actually asked Jeff Young, another friend of ours, and LinkedIn Rockstar, the LinkedIn guru. I asked him. I said, I know that I got put on the list, but I'm not sure. Did Brenda put me on the list, or did I ask? I know I didn't ask to be on the list. It's just one day I was following you on LinkedIn and we connected, and I started looking at the Rockstar list and I went, wow, I'm on the Rockstar list. Okay.
There you go.
That's how I got there, but thank you for allowing me to be there. I'm honored.
Absolutely. Well, I like to surround myself with awesome people, Debra, and that's why you're on the list. And I think you're on the LinkedIn trainer version of the list. And I'm not a big believer in competition. I'm a big believer in co-opetition. Surrounding yourself with people who do things similar as you, because I feel like we learn from each other. We share resources with each other. And I mean, let's be honest, we're an awesome community. I mean, we're pretty awesome people, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I see the live stream has started. I just tagged Jeff in a comment here, and maybe Jeff Young will pop on and say hello too. He does a good job of showing gratitude when he's tagged in posts. So we're going to get the conversation started here today. And when I invited Debra to come on with me, I said, "What do you want to talk about? Pick any topic." And she said, you can kind of see it above here, we're going to talk about networking tips today. So before we jump into that conversation, Debra, if you could tell us a little bit about who you are and what's your business all about.
Okay, thank you so much again for having me on. It's an honor to be here, and anytime I have the opportunity to talk about LinkedIn or to talk about networking, I'm going to do it because it's been a large part of my life. So much so that I named what I do in my LinkedIn training course, Networking with LinkedIn. A little bit about me. I am originally from Apex, North Carolina, which I just moved back to. I'm home after many years of being in Columbus, Ohio, where I did meet Jeff Young. And how I got started in my company was really by accident. And a lot of people go, by accident, what does that mean? Well, I was invited to be a guest speaker at a friend of mine. She had a networking group, again, networking, and her son was sick. So she asked me if I would fill in for her and do a 30-minute presentation. And so I asked, okay, what's it on? She goes, social media. And I go, Katie, I'm not on social media. She goes, you're all over LinkedIn. Just tell people what you do on LinkedIn. And I went, oh, okay. So that morning at 7:30, I went in and I took my computer in and I just started telling people what I did on LinkedIn. And from that, it kind of mushroomed. I was working for a courier company in Columbus, Ohio, and I started using the platform actually to connect with people, to network. And from that, by me teaching people what I was doing on LinkedIn, our customers at the courier company that I was working at started reaching out to me and saying, hey, could you teach my business development people what you're doing on LinkedIn? Or could you teach these people what you're doing on LinkedIn? So in 2011, I started my company and was doing 2 jobs at one time. I was teaching people LinkedIn and I was working as sales and logistics manager for a courier company.
Wow, that's awesome. And your company is it Connect to Clients? Is that the name of the company?
It is Connect to Clients.
There you go. And I'm going to pull it up on screen for those of you. I know you have a company page on LinkedIn. You also have a website that's available. So this started back in 2011. At what point did you make the side hustle the full time? When did you lean into that?
In 2015. At that point, like I said, I was kind of doing two jobs, and I came home one night about 7:30, and I walked in the door. My husband looked at me. He goes, "Okay, make a choice." And I went, "Make a choice of what?" He goes, "LinkedIn or the courier company." He goes, "You can't keep doing both. You're working like 16-hour days." So I decided in 2015 to just do my company full time because I had such a burning desire to share with people the power that the social media tool had. And so I decided to go full time.
There you go. And we're so glad that you have. And I've learned a lot from you over the years that we've been connected. And I know a lot of your followers and connections have as well. So we're here today, Debra, to talk about networking tips. And I want to start with maybe the not so obvious question. Maybe it is. I don't know. What is networking? Because there's probably some people that are watching here right now and they're like, networking sounds very ominous, like especially we're in this pandemic time where we can't meet people in person. So what is networking, and can we still network with people even when we can't meet them in person?
Absolutely. That's actually how I started networking. Now, mind you, I was doing a lot of in-person networking at the time. And to me, what networking is, it means getting together with people of like mind to share ideas, to become referral partners, or to do business together. So networking has always been a very big part of my life. I love to meet people, share ideas, and see if there might be an opportunity that we could help each other succeed in whatever it is we're doing.
Awesome. And how has networking for you changed over the past year, and related to maybe there's some tips you can offer us on that?
Actually, for me, it hasn't changed very much at all. Everything that I've done since 2009 when I got on LinkedIn has been meet people, ask them to connect, have a one-on-one with them to get to know them personally, and then at some point bring it face to face, which is why in 2015 when I moved to in 16 when I moved to the Raleigh-Durham area, it was really important for me to start a networking group, and I did. It was called Connect Clients Face to Face. So virtual networking has always been a part of what I did, because when I got on LinkedIn in 2009, it was because I couldn't get anyone to see me face to face. In 2008, when the stock market crashed, everybody was holding on to their money. And as a sales representative, it's kind of hard if nobody will see you to sell anything.
Right.
So I got on LinkedIn and just started asking people to connect and started networking with them then, and in that manner. And then once we connected, and if, the relationship built, we'd meet face to face and network.
There you go. So it's always started with an online networking connection for you through LinkedIn. And then, back in the pre-COVID days, it would, eventually turn into potentially an in-person meeting, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's probably people struggling with how do you connect with people on LinkedIn? How do you network online? I mean, what advice would you have for those folks?
The first thing I'd like to share with people, which is what I've always done, don't just connect for the sake of connecting. I've had so many people go, you've got a lot of connections. I said, yes, but I'm very judicious in who I connect with. So choose people who are of like mind, that you have something in common with, that you feel that you can build a relationship with. And then once you've done that, they will introduce you to people. And that's the networking part. That's the, someone, and then they introduce you and you meet that person, and it's kind of, it just works.
What are some common mistakes you see people making when they're getting that that connection established initially? I mean, I've seen a bunch of them. I'm sure you've seen a handful, and there's been certainly a rise, I think, in some of these different techniques over the past year. So what are some mistakes, and how can we avoid making those mistakes when we're trying to connect with people?
When you first reach out to someone, this past week has been just incredible. I can't tell you the number of people. Hi, my name is so and so, and I have the perfect funnel system for you, or trying to sell people when you connect. And the one guy, I normally just ignore those type of outreach in a connection request. But I felt he needed to know, you're really trying to sell me.
Right.
Don't sell me. It's let's connect. I don't even know you. I don't even know if I want to connect with you. And so that's the first thing. Make it an outreach of commonality. Like, look at their profile. What in common do you have that you could reach out and say, hi, you and I are both breast cancer survivors. Perhaps we should connect so that we commiserate on that. Or I see that you've done this in the past, or you like to go hiking. Find that common point that you can speak with someone and connect. Don't just connect for the sake of connecting.
Yeah, I think that's a big one too. A lot of times you see those standardized invitations. They look like, they could have copied and pasted to a million people, right? And they're just not, there's no personal touch in that.
No.
Awesome. All right. And guys, I'm noticing we're getting a little bit of a video, I want to say lag, because I'm hearing the audio seems like it's continuing, but the video is getting a little bit pixelated in the background. So it looks like the wider view is resolving the issue just a bit, Deborah, but I'll just ask our viewing audience to hang tight. The stream is still going. It just looks like the video is lagging just a little bit. I'm not sure if it's a StreamYard issue, if it's a bandwidth, Wi-Fi type of thing, but just hang out with us here. You can still hear the audio. It seems like it's going really well. So I appreciate you guys kind of kicking along. And if you have questions for Deborah, feel free to drop those into comments too. We'll do some Q&A in a little bit here. So Deborah, I just kind of dropped that tip below that you just shared with us, which was reviewing profile and referencing common items, common things that you have identified from reading the person's profile. What other tips do you have for us for today?
For me, networking has always been getting to know people. So and it goes back to what networking really is. And Jeff, I saw, did a comment. It's about synergy with someone. It's about, having that connection where you can share a relationship. And it all goes back to choosing who you connect with and choosing, to network. Now, myself, because I've always wanted to bring a lot of people together, whether it's virtually, which we're going to be doing May 11th, or virtually, or in a room, bring as many people together so that you can introduce a lot of people. To me, that's networking. Get to know your connections so that you can introduce those people to other people.
Good point. Now, you mentioned May 11th. What's May 11th, Deborah?
May 11th is LinkedIn Local Raleigh Triangle, which is actually going to be global because our 4 panelists, we have 4 LinkedIn experts, Brenda Meller being 1, Shelley Elslinger being 2, Jeff Young, and Kevin Turner, who are going to be sharing how they are making a difference on LinkedIn. And I'm so excited about this, and so is everyone here in the Triangle and beyond that have reached out to me in the last week. And we are already halfway to being full for that event.
Oh wow! So what does full mean? Is it 40 people, 100 people? What is the goal you're looking for there?
There are 80 registration seats available. There will be 99 with everybody, the partners. We're going to have partners and individual rooms where we'll have 2 30-minute breakout sessions where people can go and network. And in the registration, we actually ask questions so that we can pair you with people of like mind.
Oh, okay.
So that you're going to be kind of putting rooms with people that you can use as a referral source or maybe do business with.
Okay, very good. And I'm trying to pull this up in the background here. Let me see if I can load it up on screen here for us. It's the Eventbrite I should be sending people to, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll put it in the banner here too. And I just dropped it into the comments on LinkedIn. So if you're watching, you can go right into the LinkedIn without having to type in this really long Eventbrite description. But I'm really looking forward. Shelly and I have had a chance to chat. Jeff, I think he's on right now. He's watching us, so his ears are probably ringing. And then Kevin Turner as well. Pulled together a really great event. What was your inspiration behind putting this together as a networking event, Debra?
I had a one-on-one with Shelly about a month ago, and we were just chatting, as I love to get together with all of my connections, and it had been a while since she and I had chatted, so I reached out and I go, I've got this idea of bringing LinkedIn experts together to the people that are truly making a difference on LinkedIn. And she was so elated with the idea. I said, I'd love to ask you to do that. Would you be one of the guest panelists? And she goes, absolutely. So we sat and kind of figured out who we thought the 4 people should be. And that's how this came together. So I am very honored that you would be a part of the panelists. And Jeff Young is one of my best friends. He is just the LinkedIn guru and so much more. His heart is gold. And Kevin, I've been following him since 2018. And the comments and the information that he gives is phenomenal. And of course, Shelly with her Be Kind Club, you've got to love her. I mean, she's just awesome.
Yeah. Isn't it great when you surround yourself with people that are just, they're giving, they're forward reaching, focused on building their network and building your network and supporting your network as well. When you get a group of people in the room, whether it's virtually or in person, I mean, gosh, the sky's the limit there, right?
It absolutely is. And by the way, I have to say this. If you guys haven't gotten Brenda's book, Social Media Pride, you gotta get it because I'm halfway through reading it and it's awesome.
Thank you. It says something too. It's like it's a bit like when you go through the process of writing a book. It's a bit of like soul bearing. You're like putting out your information. I mean, it's not that I don't feel like I'm putting out great information, but when you put it into a book and you publish it and you put it like, are people going to like it? Like, it's a little intimidating. And I mean, I consider you, a peer, somebody who's well established in the industry. So when I hear feedback like that, I'm like, okay, good. I feel a little bit like, was it Sally Field at the Oscars? They like me.
Oh, that was okay. They like me.
Right.
It really is. It's great. And there's so much information that people need to know, especially if they're starting out on LinkedIn. They need this book because the tips that you give in there are just, it's something that everybody needs, but especially people that are starting out on LinkedIn, because your tips are awesome and they're dead on, like going to what we were talking about earlier about networking and reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Don't try and sell them, get to know them. LinkedIn was never meant to be a platform for mass outreach. It was meant to be a professional networking site for professionals and a career opportunity place.
Absolutely. Now, Debra, do you have a book published yet? Have you published anything?
I do not. I am in the process, and it's been many, many years. This book is it'll probably be another 3 years before it'll be published, but it's not going to be on LinkedIn. It's about my journey through breast cancer, and it's a book about getting to know yourself.
Well, it'll be such an accomplishment to have that. So keep us posted on that. And I don't know if you were watching my book publishing journey, Debra, when I was kind of sharing the covers and sharing the subtitles and asking for feedback. And I mean, I don't know if you've thought about doing that yourself. One is it built in almost like an accountability system for me, because people kept saying, when is it going to publish? When can I buy it? And when is the pre-sale going to be open? And the other part is, I think I had people that they felt like they had a vested interest in the book, like their voice was a part of it, because I was asking for feedback along the way. And then I created even a page where here's a post where I've talked about the book, and you can read through the whole history of those things. But I think documenting the journey, it helps to build up some of that momentum for the
Right.
books. You may already be thinking of these things or not, but definitely keep me posted. And as you get that book published, I'll add the link to the book in the show notes. Eventually this will be on a podcast. Right now it's sitting on LinkedIn Live and Facebook and YouTube, but eventually it'll sit in a place where people can watch it over and over again. So make sure when you get that book published, you give me the link and I'll add it into the show notes.
I certainly will.
That's awesome. And I see behind you, I'm a marketer, so I'm always kind of looking around in the frames in the video. And I see you've got a LinkedIn local Raleigh Triangle. Tell us about, because there might be people that have heard of these LinkedIn local, and they may know of them as in-person networking that occurred prior to the pandemic. And maybe some people don't even know what a LinkedIn local is. So tell us, what is a LinkedIn local and what was your role in the Raleigh Triangle group there?
Okay. So Anna McAfee and 4 other people back in 2016 started the hashtag LinkedIn Local, and it took off. She was actually interviewing people to be LinkedIn Local hosts all around the world. So I reached out to her and asked, because at the time, like I said, I was doing connect to clients face-to-face networking. I think I had already had like 4 events here in the Triangle. And so when LinkedIn Local was born, I reached out to Anna. I said, I want to be the host of LinkedIn Local Raleigh Triangle because I've already got a following and I think this would be awesome. So in 2016 is when I got to be the host of LinkedIn Local Raleigh Triangle. And yes, it was until January 2020, January 15th, 2020, we actually had 250 people at the McKimmon Center at NC State University. It was huge. We were set for 350 in March, and then the pandemic.
So was it every other month back in 2020? Was it only
4 times a year?
Okay. Wow. So January, it was normal then. I mean, normal, right? People were handshaking. Do you remember? Were people starting to be nervous about anything then, or was it completely normal at that time?
It was completely normal at that time. If there were even an inkling that anything was wrong, I wouldn't have had the event because I knew it was going to be huge. So at that time, and we had actually started doing promos for the March event. And then the pandemic, and we found out what was going on, and I was like, we can't hold this next event because there were 300 people there. And so we pivoted and did it virtual.
So how, I'm curious too, because now it's like we can look back and kind of reflect upon how soon before the event did you cancel it, and then did you reschedule it for virtual right away, or what was that time frame? How did you kind of maneuver that?
We kept the date that we were going to have for the original event, and it was, I think, the 1st of February. No, I think it was going to be in April instead of March. But as soon as it came out that there was a virus and it could be here, I told my husband, I go, we can't do this. I said, this is going to have to be virtual. So it was almost immediately I made the decision to turn it virtual because I wanted to protect the people that would come, because I knew that the next one was going to be even larger.
Right.
So we just changed everything and made it virtual.
And this has been still 4 times a year since things have been virtual in terms of the frequency of meetups. And what have you changed in terms of making it a good networking event online? How do you, pre-pandemic, you let people mill around, you have name tags, you encourage them to shake hands, get to know people. How do you encourage networking within an online environment? And I'm assuming you use like Zoom or something like that. Is that right?
We use Zoom, and we have 10 partners that have a room. And like I said, so you've got 80 people.
Wow.
And you take those people and you divide them into the 10 rooms. And then we have 2 breakout sections. So you actually get an hour worth of networking in those rooms. You get 30 minutes in one room and then 30 minutes in another room. But the beautiful part is we give the list to everybody of those who are attending so that they can reach out on LinkedIn.
Oh, nice.
And connect afterwards. So we followed the same model as we did when it was live by having a speaker or a, like we're doing with this, a panel discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the breakout sessions where everybody goes into their rooms and they come back out. And then I introduce the partners of the event and they get to know the partners, they meet them. It's just, for an online networking event, if I do say so myself, it's one of the best I've been to, because it's important for me that everybody gets something out of it when they come. Whether it's education from the speaker or it's that they can meet people of like mind to become connections, referral partners, do business. So it's worked out really well.
That's
Everybody
wonderful.
says they have a great time when they come. And, you know, the one thing that I stress is this list that I give you of all the attendees, do not make a mailing list out of it.
Right.
It is for you to reach out on LinkedIn to connect with people.
So does the list, is it just names or do you include email or not in there?
I include the name of their company, and their LinkedIn URL.
I love it. That's great.
So
That does keep them kind of,
they have to do the LinkedIn. They have to go there and connect.
Yeah, that's good. And I like that you set the ground rules too, because some people think, well, if I've connected with you, I have permission to email you, and I'm just going to add you into my email list. And no, it's actually a violation of CAN spam. You know, you have to get expressed permission to add people to your mass email system, but some people just don't know any better. And not that that's an excuse, but maybe they just kind of think that, well, I got an email, I can add them into my list. So, but that's a big no-no. You and I know that. And I'm curious, with your events, Debra, I would imagine pre-COVID, they were all drawing people locally from the Raleigh Research Triangle area. Now, I would imagine, are you attracting people from a broader geographic region from across the world, or is it mainly still within the Raleigh area?
Across the world. I had at the last event someone from Australia, someone from Canada, Michigan, Colorado, Texas. So it's global now. Even though it's LinkedIn Local Raleigh Triangle, which it truly is, it's global because people are coming from all over the world, as we want them to meet the great people that are here in the Triangle.
That's great. That's wonderful. Are you starting to think about when you might start shifting back to in-person or hybrid networking? Are you starting to have those discussions yet, or are you still kind of holding out on that?
I'm probably going to hold out until 2022 for the simple fact that I want to make sure everyone is safe. And it depends, because here in the Triangle, they've just now opened it up. And actually, my husband and I are getting our shot on Friday.
Oh, yay.
They've opened it up and more people can get the vaccination now. So it's going to really depend on the state rules, because right now we're at 50 outdoors and 25 indoors.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that's not enough for me. I want 300 to 500 in a room. So until I can do that, I probably will not have a live event.
Yeah. And it's probably easier from a planning perspective to just wait anyways, because then you're not having to, in your case, you really want to, it's either virtual or in person. You really probably don't want a hybrid experience because it's the dynamic is changed there. So kind of waiting until we're back to 100%. And I almost feel, Debra, too, like once we all know, I don't think there's going to be a date where this, okay, draw a line in the sand, it's June 1st or July 31st, or I don't know if it's going to be like that. Even then, when they say the virus is gone or enough people have the vaccine where we don't have to worry about it, you don't have to wear a mask, whenever, I feel like there's probably going to be another 60 to 90 days or maybe even 6 months to a year of people still wearing a mask and not shaking hands. Like it's going to be a gradual.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because,
so go ahead.
No, I believe that as well. That's why, everybody has asked me the same question. When are you going to do this live? And I go, not until I know that everybody feels safe
Right.
being with each other in a room, because it's like you said, I'm not going to do it halfway. I'm going to do it all the way. And,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to be able to be confident and comfortable when you're meeting with people in person.
right.
Yeah. Awesome.
Protecting my guests is my number one priority. So
Absolutely. Key to networking, right? You want to make people feel comfortable. So we're going to shift gears here, guys. And I just dropped a reminder below to let you know we're going to take questions in. And if you have a question for Debra about networking, feel free to drop it. Or if you just have a comment that you want to add to the conversation about networking, maybe something you've experienced that's been a positive change in terms of online networking over the past year. Maybe it's you have a comment about outreach on LinkedIn, how people are reaching out to you, the invitations you're responding to versus the ones you're not. Maybe you know Jeff Young, and Jeff is on. He's commenting, and I love it. And he's noticing the video lag too. The good thing is the audio is not lagging, so it seems like we have a seamless experience, which will make for a great podcast. I can just move it over really quick. But I love he's saying the Meller and Mathias M&M, right?
M&Ms.
M&M. We love it, Jeff. So thank you for watching and for your support. Awesome. And I did share, and I see Fran had a question about the link for the event. I did share it in the comments, Fran, so you can check it out in there. And I'll make sure that you've seen that in the comments. I'll look for the comments later to make sure that you've seen that in there. I also want to bring up on screen now, Jeff had an acronym. You know, Debra, that Jeff is like the king of acronyms on LinkedIn, right? So he had this, and I wish StreamYard would squish the comments down, because what happens when I push this up on screen, it reminds me of that TV show Home Improvement where Wilson was like talking over the fence, and it kind of covers us up a little bit. It's not a concern with the length of Jeff's comment. It's StreamYard. Can you please like condense, like make them the font size smaller so they're not covering us up? But I don't know, Jeff. I think he's got a library of these things. So the N in network is never stop giving. The E is everybody matters. The T is treating others as you would like to be treated. The W, why not help everyone you meet? O, optimism moves mountains. R is respect, and kindness matters. So namaste, Jeff. Thank you so much for sharing that acronym with all of us on here. And there's usually about a 30-second lag from the time I say, hey, drop your comments below, until that comment comes up on screen. And then it might take people a minute or so, Debra. So I'm vamping a little bit right here right now. Melinda looks like she's attending. Whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. She is looking forward to attending the event. So is registration closing at any point? You said there's going to be a cap, Debra, and you're getting near to.
It will more than likely sell out before the event closes. The event is on Tuesday, May 11th, and I think we closed registration on Friday before. So, but I'm pretty sure it'll sell out before then. Yeah. So get your tickets. If you want to come, now's the time to get them, because we're halfway there. We're going to sell out. Get your tickets. We're only a month away, so.
Very good. Yeah, it'll come up quickly now. I mean, it's March 30th today that we're having this discussion, but gosh, in 2 days it's going to be April, Debra. Can you believe it? The year's flying by.
Can't believe it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I see we had another a comment from earlier, and this was a LinkedIn limitation, but I just want to use this as an example. Debra, I know Kara Andrews, it's probably something in her settings, but I know sometimes I've visited LinkedIn profiles that I can't see their photo, or I've gotten an invitation from someone and I can't see their photo. I know the answer to this, but I want to ask you to take this. What is what's the concern you might offer people who don't have a LinkedIn profile on their account, or maybe they're not aware that it's visible, and how do you fix that setting on the account?
You go to privacy and settings, and there's a button that you can check that will say available to all LinkedIn members and to show my full profile. And you have to check that button so that we can see your face, your information, and your profile. But I trained a guy the other day, and he had his set on anonymous and had no idea, because I wouldn't connect with him until, you know, he had a picture. That's my rule of thumb. Unless you have a photo on your LinkedIn profile, I don't feel comfortable connecting. So he goes, I've got a photo there. I said, well, go to your settings. You must have yours set on private mode. And yes, he did. So.
And he wasn't even aware of it, it sounds like, when you were walking.
He wasn't even aware that he was on private mode. He goes, well, no wonder nobody's been commenting on my post.
Well, because it looks like, I mean, we don't know who you are. And I think human nature, we want to see people. We want to see that they're real. We don't want, we don't know if it's like a bot or a spam account. Like when we see your face, and I'm going to pull up your profile up on screen right now. When I visit Debra's profile, I can see her photo. And if I've met her before, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the right person. And even like you and I, Debra, we haven't met in person, but I've seen you online enough, and I've seen you in a couple of Zoom calls, and I'm like, yep, that's the right account. It gives me that verification, right?
Let me tell you a great story that goes with that. So 2009, I had just gotten on LinkedIn, and I'm sitting at my desk at the courier company I work for. My cell phone rings, and this lady goes, is this Debra Cummings that went to Midway Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina? Oh, wow. And I went, yes. She goes, great. Do you guys do lab specimen pickups? And I went, yes. She goes, okay, well, I'd like to have a, lab specimen pick. And she just started into the order. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. How do you know me? She goes, oh, I went to LinkedIn. She said, I thought it was you. She said, and so I thought, oh, well, she works for a courier company. And it was just crazy. She found me on LinkedIn, saw my photo, knew that it was me. I have my maiden name, which is what I tell ladies to put their maiden name in there, because you never know that somebody might reach out that you don't know from past. So yeah, she reached out, and it turned out to be one of our biggest accounts.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I had my maiden name on there for the longest time, Debra. Part of the reason I changed it, I mean, I got married when I was 29. So, there was a group of people that only knew me from earlier on in my career. And then, or from high school or college that, I was building up connections with. I did take it off, but I know some people will keep it on forever. I just recently made this change in the past year, because when you comment on posts on LinkedIn, it'll show your name and then a portion of your headline. And there's a fixed character limit. So the longer your name is, the less of your headline they would see. And I kind of went, wait a minute, my maiden name was Zawacki. So it was pretty long, And when I took that out, more of my headline was showing in there. So it's definitely a trade-off. But I completely agree with you. There are certain people, especially when I was just starting to ramp up my LinkedIn, they would not have known me as Brenda Meller. They only knew me as Brenda Zawacki, and they're looking that up. So really great point on there. And you've got such a great profile, Debra. We're starting to kind of wind down our conversation here today, and I'm going to leave this up on screen here as we're having this conversation. Are you open to accepting connections from people that are watching the show today, or what's your personal philosophy on connection growth?
I am open to connecting with anyone that would like to connect on LinkedIn. If you are not active on LinkedIn, don't reach out, because I live there. If you're only on there once or twice a month, I'm probably, because that's one of the first things I look at. What's your activity? Are you on there a lot? If you're on there every week and you're active, I may possibly connect. But please follow me. Follow me at my LinkedIn, and follow me so that you can be updated on all the events for LinkedIn Local, and absolutely reach out to connect.
Awesome. And mention, if you do send Debra an invitation to connect, you heard this tip earlier, I want to repeat it now. Mention that you heard her on the show today. Mention that, say, I saw you on the interview with Brenda Meller, learned a lot about networking, mention something so she knows that you're a real live person. You actually did listen in. Maybe you say, hey, I know Jeff Young too. You could name drop Jeff in there, right? And then invite Debra to connect with you, right?
Right. And if they send me just a generic connect request, don't expect me to connect.
Okay.
I want a personal message. So
do you respond back to those generic requests at all, or do you just ignore them? What do you do?
I ignore them.
Yeah. See, and that's what a lot of us do, right?
Yep.
Yep.
If you don't think enough of me to send me a personal request, or you're not on LinkedIn and haven't been there long enough to know to send a personal request, probably not going to connect with you because, like I said, I live there, and you know.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Debra. And if you joined us a little bit late here, you can still watch the replay, go back later, and you can watch the whole session. Today we were talking about networking tips, and we had some discussion about an upcoming event that Debra's holding, and pulled up her profile as well. So as we start to round the conversation down here today, Debra, any final tips for people on networking, and then where can people learn more about you and your business?
They can learn more about me with the link below on LinkedIn, and they can also go to my website, connectclients.com. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
No, that's what I threw like 5 questions at you. Any final thoughts for networking tips for people that are watching today?
Yes. Be judicious in who you connect with. Find people of like mind. Find people that you have something in common with, because those people are going to be your friends for life. Those are the people that are going to be true referral partners or refer you to other people. So be careful who you connect with. Be careful who you reach out to.
Awesome. Great advice. And I want to encourage you guys, if you did enjoy this video, I would love it if when we're done with the broadcast here today, if you can go back and find the video, go into my activity feed, you can click on, there's a share icon in there, and share this video with your network. That counts as your post for today. So if you haven't posted yet this week, that counts as your post. And just tag Debra in there and just say, great discussion and tips by @Debra Mathias. So give her a tag on there. And then share with people something that you learned from watching this video. She'll get a notification. It's going to make her feel good about that, and it's a good way of just keeping yourself active as we're all online right now, and just keeping yourself visible. So Debra, thank you so much for joining. I really enjoyed the discussion with you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to our LinkedIn Local Raleigh Triangle on May 11th, where you will be a panelist.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it as well, and I'll definitely help to keep the word going on there and promoting it. So thank you, Debra. Look forward to seeing you in person again on the 11th. And I want to thank everyone for watching here today. I hope you enjoyed the segment. Please drop a comment below if you enjoyed the interview today. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody on LinkedIn in the future. And in the meantime, everybody, please stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll look forward to seeing you online later on in the week. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.